Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Alfred from Practical Code Academy. And today before we start our course, I want to go over what you should expect from Module 1. Module 1 actually going to cover the basics of HTML. And Module 1 itself, it's consisted of multiple videos that are going to go over the following list of topics. First, we're going to go over what is HTML, how you can create your own first document. Also, we're going to cover Visual Studio Code setup. Visual Studio Code is going to be our text editor that I'm going to be using in this course. However, feel free to use your favorite text editor. For example, you can use Sublime, Brackets, whatever text editor that you're familiar with. However, in this course, I'm going to show you all the shortcuts you need for Visual Studio Code editor to be productive writing codes. And also, I'm going to show you some of the extensions that we're going to use. Next, we're going to cover HTML tags, attributes. What is the tags? What is the difference between tags and attributes? Also, we're going to explain the structure of documents, of HTML documents specifically. Later, we're going to dive in HTML meta tags, how you can use the meta tags, what is the meta tags. And also, we're going to cover forms, inputs, how you can create your own forms. For example, how to create a login form, registration form, all kinds of forms. And next, we're going to cover links, images, how you can add images to your web page to make it more attractive to the users. Also, how you can add links to external web pages. As well, we're going to cover tables and lists, how you can create your own tables and list of items. And also in this course, or in this model specifically, we're going to cover the difference between block level element and inline level elements. I'm going to show you what does the block level element mean, how that can affect your styling for an element, and also the inline element, how that also can affect the styling of it. Next, we're going to cover dev, span, IDEs, and classes. Dev and span are two tags that's used by HTML. We're going to cover why you can use them, which cases you need to use them. For the IDE and classes are attributes. Also, similarly, we're going to cover why you need them, when you can use them. Next, we're going to cover what is HTML entities and how you can use them. And finally, we're going to cover the HTML5 semantic tags. Okay, guys, let's get our hands dirty and start by installing the Visual Studio Code. Okay, open your Google, search for Visual Studio Code, and it should be the first listed item here. Click on the page, open it, and as you can see here, you're going to find the button for download for a window. You can also download it for Mac or Linux, and click on the download for Windows. In that case, I'm going to be downloading it for the Windows. As you can see, it's going to install or download the setup file. Once it downloads the setup file, all you need to do is click on it. And I'm going to walk you through the installation process of Visual Studio Code. First, you need to accept the agreement. Click Next. And it's very important to check all these options. So in case if you don't have all these options checked, you need to check all of them. In that case, I'm not going to add an icon here, but I can check this one too. And then press Next, and it's going to install it for you. For me, I already installed it on my computer, so I'm not going to finish the process with you. However, once you press Next, it will finish the process of installation. So I'm going to cancel right now. I'm going to create a folder for our try with HTML and open up with Visual Studio Code. I'm going to call it HTML. And I'm going to open up this folder, and I want to create my first HTML document. You right-click there and select a text document. It's very important to select it as text, not as Microsoft Word. Then I'm gonna rename it to web page. It's very important that you change the extension of the file. Now it's txt. Change that extension to HTML. That's how the computer know that this is an HTML document, and it's going to open it with the browser. So now it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to change it? Yes. And as you can see, once I change it, it now taken the default browser, which in that case Chrome, and the computer understands that this file needs to be opened with Chrome. However, for some of you, you're not going to be able to see this extension for the files. And the reason for that, because in the Windows, you have this option View. You click on it, there is an Options. And in View here, the View tab, you have hide extension for known types. You have it checked. See, once I check it and press apply and press OK, now I cannot see the extension, and definitely I cannot change it. So if I want to put it back to text, I can't, because this is not the extension. This is now part of the name. So to solve this problem, all you need to do for the View tab, Options, go for View tab here again, and uncheck the hide extension. Press apply, and as you can see now, the .text.html. So the .text was added to the name, not as an extension. Okay, so here's my file. Let's open it with Visual Studio Code. And now I have my file here. Before we write anything, I want to go over the syntax of HTML. Each HTML element consists of 3 parts. I would say 90% of them. The opening tag, the content, and the closing tag. The opening tag indicating to the browser that this is the beginning of my element, and the closing tag indicating to the browser that this is the end of the element. And in between is the element itself. For example, here I have a P tag, P short for paragraph. So I'm telling the browser, listen, I want to display this paragraph to the browser or render it to the user. Here is the start of my paragraph, and here is the end of my paragraph. Okay, this is called the opening tag, and it's the character P, which is short for paragraph, surrounded by this brackets. And also notice that the closing tag looks similar to it. However, it's having the / after the opening bracket here. So it's open bracket /, then the paragraph letter, and then the closing bracket. So they're pretty much similar. You have the opening tag and the closing tag, and in between is the meat itself, is what do you want to put inside this element. In that case, I want to show some text. In that case, I want to show the user my paragraph, which is called the element content. Okay, be careful when you type this. You can always miss one of the brackets here. You can always forget the /. You can always forget the closing tag all over. It's very important to put your code really following to this syntax. Another thing I want to mention before we move on, I would say 90% of the HTML element having closing tags like this, opening and closing. However, there are some elements that only consist of opening tags. They don't have any closing tags, and we're going to cover them when we get to them. Okay, I hope you get the syntax now of any element, and we're going to practice this syntax right now. So I'm in my Visual Studio Code. I'm going to do the example that we did. So I'm going to do the opening tag, opening this brackets, and put P, which is short for paragraph. Then I'm going to type in whatever I want. I'm going to do my paragraph, and then do the closing tag, which is going to be this bracket / P. And the Visual Studio actually know what you want to do because it's already reading the opening tag, and it help you, and it's going to tell you, okay, you want the closing tag, and I'm going to put it for you. Okay, so this is my first HTML element. Let's see how this is going to look like in my browser. If I click here, this is my page, nothing. You see nothing. Why? The reason for that, if you come here, this is your file name. This is where this file located. And you see the circle, this circle indicating that you didn't save the file. And because you didn't save it, now our file is just empty, and the browser showing an empty file. So we need to save that to our file. To do so, you click on File and press Save, or you can use the shortcut Control-S. In that case, I'm gonna save it, and once I save it, nothing also reflected to my page. I need to refresh the page to see it, and now I can see my paragraph here. Okay, another cool trick that you can use also, This is a shortcut for Visual Studio Code. If you press Control plus, it will zoom in to your code. If Control minus, it will zoom out. So you can zoom out or zoom in using Control plus and Control minus. And I found this very helpful. Just want to share it with you guys. Okay, now this is my paragraph, and we was able to reflect it here on the page. Let's say adding the word 2 or the number 2 here. And now, as you can see, now it required you to save because you see this white circle again. If I press Control S, this white circle will disappear. However, it didn't reflect here. And the reason for that, you need to refresh the page. And now we have my paragraph 2. Now, what else we can, what other HTML elements? You have heading elements. Now, this is just a text or paragraph. What about you want to put a heading or like a newsletter heading or bigger text, bolded text? HTML comes with 6 headings. So if I'm going to do H1, so this is H1 or heading number 1. So in order to use H1, what I need to do, the opening tag of H1, I'm going to call it my heading 1, and then the closing tag of the H1. Don't forget the closing tag of that. Level 1 is the highest level. That means it's the bigger heading. So it will have the bigger font size and the bolded text. However, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to make my first one here is the heading, and the paragraph comes after it. Save. Let's see how that look like. As you can see, the heading now, it's the size of the text is bigger. It's different definitely from the paragraph, and it's also is bolded. At this point, I want to introduce you to something that you're going to need a lot during this course. It's called developer tools. And to open the developer tools in your browser, all you need to do is just press F12. So in my browser here, I'm going to press F12, and that's going to open my developer tool. And it looks like this. Okay? You have here different tabs, elements, console, structure, network. For now, we're going to do the element. So as you can see, it's showing to you the HTML structure of your page. Don't worry about the head or the body. We're having here our heading, H1 tag that we did here. And here we have the paragraph, whatever we did here. And you can select any one of them. So let's say I'm going to select the heading. Okay. And down there, so I've selected the heading. It's showing you that the font size of the heading is 32 pixels. So the size of the heading is 32 pixels. That's why it's bigger than the paragraph. So let's check how much is the paragraph. I'm going to select the paragraph. I'm going to select here, show all. And if you go here for the font size, display, font size here, you'll see 16 pixels. So this here for the paragraph is 16 pixels. However, the H1 was 32 and also bolded. Okay, so let's add more HTML elements. I'm gonna put this on the side. So this is for H1. We can add H2, my heading 2, and if I save and I refresh my page, this is my heading 2. If I select it, and I don't need to show all now. Now notice that the font size is 24. So it's less font size from the heading 1, and so on. You can do heading 3, my heading 3. And if you save that, refresh here, you will find it that it's less in size. And let's see what is the font size of this one. This is 18.72 pixels. So the first one is 32. The second one is going to be 24. The third is 18.72 pixels. And our paragraph will be 16 pixels as a default. All these values are default values given by your browser. However, you can alter these properties. For example, I can make the h1 smaller or bigger using CSS. And that's the beauty of the CSS. You can change how this element's rendered inside your page. Okay, now you know how about the elements, how you can create them, the opening tag and closing tag. Now a good question, let's practice something. Is it case sensitive? Now, for example, if I change this paragraph to capital B, what do you think gonna happen? So now I change it to capital B. Gonna save it. What do you think is gonna happen when I refresh my page? Gonna just close the developer here. Nothing happened. HTML don't care if the tag name is capital or small. It's not case sensitive. However, it's a good practice to write them in a lowercase. So it's just between you and other developers or other programmers. When you share your code, it's just like a common practice to have them in a lowercase. Now I save this and nothing changed. I don't care. Another thing I want to show you. For this paragraph, for example, to generate a dummy text in Visual Studio Code, you can type the word LOREM. If you type LOREM and you press enter, it will generate, as you can see now, it generates a long text for me, and I have to use the scroll to go back. However, if you're in Visual Studio Code and you want all these lines to be wrapped, you go to View and toggle Word Wrap. Once you toggle Word Wrap, now it's going to wrap them, and you don't have this scroll bar to going left and right anymore. So lorem will generate a dummy text paragraph for you. Okay, if I press save, reload my page, and I have my dummy text here. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's going to come in handy when you need some dummy text. You just type in lorem, tap, and it will generate it for you. Okay, let's check another option you can do with lorem. So if I do lorem and put a number, for example, 3, I'm going to give you 3 words, not the full paragraph. Lorem, for example, lorem 5, and press tab. It's going to give me 5 words. Okay, what if I do lorem times 2? In that case, it's times 2, and I press enter. It will give you 2 full paragraphs. So this is your first paragraph, and then it will give you another longer paragraph. So if you need, for example, 100 paragraph, so for example, if you want lorem times hundreds, and now you're gonna, as you can see, we have a long text. And if I save that, refresh my page, now you have page full of text here. It becomes handy to generate all this dummy text. However, I'm gonna get it back. I'm gonna do regular lorem, 1 paragraph, save it, refresh, and here I have the 1 paragraph. Okay guys, that's enough for today's video. In the next video, we're gonna cover the proper HTML structure, document structure, the layout itself of the page, and also we're gonna cover attributes, how you can use attributes and add them to HTML elements. I hope you like this video. If you do like it, hit the thumbs up. And also, if you're not subscribed to our channel, subscribe to our channel to get the latest video. Thank you.